we have box office data to report. And I never, in the 16 weeks that we've been closed, I never thought we'd have a day where I'd ever be able to say those words again. But we have box office data. But before we do tell you the current UK number one, let's remind ourselves of how it all looked a little over 16 weeks ago. I have the top 15 from the week the lockdown kicked in. At 15th place that week was Chalmira 2, an Indian film. It was a new entry that week. It did at £89,000 from 56 cinemas. Obviously, not many sites take a chance on foreign and independent film like this. Maybe PVOD could recoup losses for Riven Boys Entertainment. I don't know. At 14th place, pre-lockdown, was Emma for Universal. Again, that went straight to video on demand within a week of the cinemas closing. It did 94,000 from UK cinemas that week. This is a key little stat here, key metric. I have the little PDF I've got here. It tells me the percentage change week on week. That film was down 67% on the equivalent weekend 7 days before. So COVID had already hit the industry before the cinemas had even closed. At 13th place was 1917. Cracking film for E1. Did 108,000 from UK cinemas. It was up, at the time, up to 43.7 million. So it became one of the biggest British films of the award season. Quite rightly so. At 12 was Blumhouse's Fantasy Island. Did 136,000 for Sony. Again, down 65%. It was in its second week at the time. Played 354 cinemas. So, yeah, did I would say pretty well, but it only overall made 725,000. So, yeah. The less said about that, the better. And then at 11th place was Dolittle, Universal's Robert Downey Jr. vehicle. It had only come out 6 weeks prior. It did 147,000 from UK cinemas pre-lockdown. But 15.8 million, that's a good enough figure for them. That's a really good enough figure for them. That's the bottom end of the top 15. But here on Talking Smit About Film, and it has been a long time since I've heard this music, let's talk about the top 10 pre-lockdown movie. At 10th place was Dark Waters, the Mark Ruffalo E1 film. It did 224,000 from UK cinemas that week. Third week within release, it's up to a total of 2.4 million. At 9, black and white release incoming for this movie, and it's a brilliant film too. It's your Best Picture winner, Parasite, for Studio Canal and Curzon. 6 weeks on release, it did £235,000, bringing it up to a nice 11.9 million. At 8 was a new entry that week for STX Entertainment and My Spy. It did 345,000, so opened relatively well, making money back on video on demand. At 7 was Misbehaviour. Now, this was a Disney Fox film, had a great cast, a lot of marketing. It was another new entry that week. It did £347,000. It was a competitive week for those kinds of films, and shame the lockdown got in the way. At 6 was Sonic the Hedgehog. It did 397,000 from UK cinemas, 579 of them to be precise. In its 5th week, bringing it up to a nice cumulative total of 18.9 million. Top 5 now, Military Wives. In its 2nd week within the UK charts at the time, did £407,000 from 659 cinemas. 2.3 million, again, did pretty well there. At 4th was Bloodshot. It had been in cinemas for, well, a little over a week, bringing in £444,000 from its cumulative total. At 3 was The Hunt, which did £542,000 for a new entry. At 2nd was The Invisible Man. 3rd week on release did 827,000, 6.5 million overall. And your UK number one pre-lockdown was Onward. Of course, it had to be Onward. Disney were able to bring £1.2 million into the UK cinema economy to give it a nice overall gross of £5.2 million in its 2nd week. Now, the key stat to remember here is that percentage drop-off. Because Onward dropped 63% on the week before, which was quite worrying at the time. We knew the lockdown was coming. We knew it was coming at the time. I headed down to view 10 days before the lockdown, and the staff knew things were brewing. But that was a little over 100 days ago. Since then, the nation have stayed at home. They've done their bit. And this weekend, the cinemas reopened for the first time since that elusive March weekend. Comscore have just sent me the statistics. I only have a top 5 to give you, but this is how it is currently looking at your UK and Ireland box office. Music Man, hit it one more time. At 5th place was 1917. It did £12,744, 12 weeks in the charts, bring it up to 43.8 million. At 4th, it's back in the top 5 for The Greatest Showman, 118 weeks in the charts. It did just under 14,500, bring it up to 49.4 million. At 3, week 11 for Bad Boys for Life, did 16,000 dead, bring it up to 16.1 million. And at 2 is a new entry, Trolls World Tour, did 16,941. And still your UK box office number 1, 5.3 million to date, 21 grand this weekend. Onward remains the top of the box office. It played for another 2 weeks in cinemas after the official closure of the multiplexes. The indies kept them alight, but that is your current UK, well, just England box office top 5. Now, we will have more conclusive box office figures over the next few weeks, not just as more cinemas open up here in England, but as we gain Scotland, Wales and Ireland's cinemas back, we will have a bit more of a rounded figure that represents what you, the great British public, are watching.